brought something with me today, something that I suspect all of us have owned at one point in our lives. I own a couple of them. I have one for when I travel. It's fairly large, but it will still fit under a seat in economy when I fly. And I have another one for when I travel locally, when I'll be gone for a few hours or a few days, and I'm driving. And I have a third one. I got that one free at a conference that I use when I only need to take my journal and an iPad with me somewhere. And I don't want them airborne while I'm driving because you never know here in the North Country when a deer might decide, oh, you know what? I think that field over there is better. In fact, I know it is. But just to be sure, I think I'll run over there. Right now. Yes, now. Go, go, go. Now, if you haven't guessed it, maybe you have, what I'm talking about, and I'm going to show you, I have one here. I'm talking about this. This is a backpack. Now, don't get me wrong. Backpacks are incredibly useful. They can corral all of the stuff that we have and that we think we need to haul around with us fairly well, regardless of what type they are. Some are like grocery bags, just throw everything in, and some are more like filing cabinets and well-organized pantries. There's a place, a pocket, or a zippered compartment for everything to call home. But sometimes backpacks can get overloaded, and not in a good way. When my children were younger and they brought lunch to school, occasionally I'd find the remnants of lunch. And I'm not talking the same day, but a week later, after they told me that there was nothing in the backpack. And I'd find the remnants of lunch jammed into the seams of the backpack. Now, other times, I'd find a note that a teacher said I didn't sign, and that would be weeks after it was due to be returned to school. And that note would be crammed among the books, the papers, and the artwork. Now, this is a bit off topic, but I think one of the quality control tests that should be mandatory for backpacks is a strength test to see how much can be stuffed, crammed, jammed, and shoehorned in before the zippers no longer function. If you think about it, our lives are a lot like backpacks. We have schedules, and we cram everything we can into them. We have things we carry around with us. Some of them are good, like happy memories, and the feelings we get when we spend time with those we love. But some of them are not so good, like things we've done, which we now wish we hadn't. And similar to what we do with backpacks when it comes to life, the things that we've done that don't embody some of our best moments, we often hide or bury. Some of those things we wish we hadn't, thoughts, what we've said, what we've done, are relatively small, especially if, and one could argue, no one is the wiser. What's the harm in gossiping if the person who one is gossiping about never finds out? How about the harm in the little white lie if the only person who knows that it's a little white lie is the one who told it? Or if one borrows money without asking and then returns it before anyone finds out it was gone in the first place. It's easy to think, well, if no one else knows, then no harm, no foul. But that's a pretty simplistic way of looking at things because it's not like we know what the future holds or that we can guarantee the truth will never come out. In fact, it usually does when we least expect it. Even if we swear the best friend to secrecy, when we gossip, or we think we've got everything covered, all of the variables accounted for when we tell the little white lie. Or we just know there's plenty of time to borrow and return whatever it is that we are going to borrow and then return. And we should be able to do so without anyone noticing it's gone. And there's another thing that happens when we know we've done something we shouldn't have. It doesn't matter whether it's small or big, like lying to get someone else in trouble, or losing one's cool and harming, or worse, someone else. Whatever it is that we've done, it eats at us. Despite all our efforts to run and hide, to deny our guilt, when we know we've done something wrong, we've sinned, and we choose not to acknowledge it and ask for forgiveness, we suffer. Because sin can cause us to feel guilt, shame, and fear. The psalmist describes this burden of hidden sin. While I kept silent, my body wasted away through my groaning all day long. For day and night your hand was heavy upon me. My strength was dried up as by the heat of summer. Now, what's remarkable is how this ancient bit of wisdom has been confirmed by modern science. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, in his groundbreaking work on trauma, shared in his book, The Body Keeps the Score, that our unresolved burdens manifest physically when we try to bury them. Literally, our silence is a burden, one that we force our bodies to carry. But the burden of silence doesn't need to be the end. We don't need to carry it around and have it weigh us down. The psalm continues, and in verse 5, the psalmist writes, "Then I acknowledged my sin to you, and I did not hide my iniquity. I said, I will confess my transgressions to the Lord, and you forgave the guilt of my sin." Now think again of the backpacks I mentioned earlier. Have you ever unpacked a backpack that was overloaded? What did it feel like? Especially when you cleaned it out completely. You rid the backpack and yourself of all the crumpled papers, the gum wrappers, the tissues, the pens. What did it feel like when you were able to start fresh, to have the backpack neatly organized? Well, when we acknowledge our sins to God, when we confess them to God, we do something similar. We unburden ourselves spiritually, emotionally, and physically. I invite you today to think about what you're carrying around in your backpack. What burden or burdens have you been carrying in silence? How are they weighing you down? Are you ready now, during this season of Lent, to accept God's invitation to confession and forgiveness? Are you ready for God to be your hiding place, to preserve you from trouble, to surround you with the glad cries of deliverance? If you are, I hope to see you here again next week for another sermon. And in the meantime, have a blessed week, everyone.